Welcome to 2013, the year where both Microsoft and Sony will supposedly unveil and possibly release their next generation consoles. Rumors that both devices will block used games has the industry in disarray. Will this be a deal breaker and possibly the end of console gaming?
Welcome back to the GamerNerdz Sudden Death, everyone. This is Dinx.
I'm Voyce.
We know it's been a long time since we've done one of these, but do you think console makers have the right to prevent used game sales on their next generation set of consoles?
Listen, I fall in the gray zone. I understand why they would do it, and at the same time, I can see where it would fail. There have been a lot of rumors to surface, most notably that for the Xbox 720 and the PS4. So the Xbox 720 will probably require you to put in some sort of one-time activation code, which could limit your gaming to one console or perhaps one user. And with the PS4, there's a lot of rumors. One of them involves some sort of RF tag that will check whether or not your console is tied to your game or the ID is tied to the game.
So to further substantiate the rumors about the next Xbox, or Durango, whatever it's called, not playing used games, on top of having internet connection, you have to install every game now. It's mandatory. Yeah. If it's fact and actually going to happen, I think there is going to be a huge mass exodus from console gaming to an open platform like PC or something like Steambox. They can position themselves really well as a great alternative. The other side of the coin now is that when you buy used games, developers get no money. A corporation like GameStop, which a lot of people complain about, they make all the money from the used game sales. You have to admit that this generation, game development costs are going through the roof. A lot of your favorite developers can't keep up, and a lot of them are shutting down.
Publisher THQ, for example, shut down completely, taking down a lot of developers. Granted, they were bought out by other companies, but still, it could have been the end of a lot of great franchises. I got sick and tired of all the DLC that kept being thrown our way, and it's because game developers have to find a way to make money. They're not making money off the used games, but like you're saying, it's a double-edged sword.
If you don't have developers to release the games, then your console is no use. Developers have tried many ways to go around this used game issue. For example, Online Pass, another very hot topic. Either buy the game new or pay $10 to play it online. So another stick on the side for a used game player. There's been tons of day one DLC, microtransactions. If a game costs $100 million to make, you don't get the return. I mean, the studio's not going to stay afloat. I buy my games new, and so does Voyce. We support our developers. I've never been the type to go buy used games, but I'm sure there are folks that go to GameStop, for example, or any other game store exclusively for that. If the next Xbox actually does prevent used gameplay, and I'd be very, very surprised if it's absolutely black and white and there's no question about it, I definitely think there's going to be a huge loss in user base because that's going to turn off a lot of people.
I think it's going to be a backlash. I think a lot of people are going to start going towards other platforms, and I think Microsoft and Sony have to be really careful with the way they position it, because Valve did mention that they are working on the Steambox. In fact, they were very open about it at CES this year, and it's a platform that's going to allow for multiple game calls being played at the same time. So Valve is offering something different. They already have a pretty big user base with Steam. So listen, Sony, Microsoft, be very careful. I do understand why you wouldn't want people to play used games, but it depends on how you do it. If you're limiting one game per console, one game per ID, might be problematic. I have multiple consoles. I have 3 Xbox 360s, and I buy one version of the game. I don't have to go out and buy 3 different copies of the same game.
Well, you know what? You may have to, because you have the mandatory installs. We're going to find out on February 20th about what the PS4 is going to do. Maybe not in detail, but there's rumors that backwards compatibility, for example, is going to go out the window for sure. I don't know if that's a big loss, but it opens a window for game streaming, for HD re-releases of HD games. So there's a lot of benefits, and I guess a lot of arguments from the developers and console side. I do think that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo's not doing this. But you have to tread very lightly here, because I'm reading on message boards, and a lot of people are angry about this, that the home console makers are dictating how you can play your game. There's a small rumor, I'm sure it's silly, that for the next Xbox, as you log in multiple users on the console, there's a cost involved. That you may have a cost to bring 4 or 5 of your friends and their gamer tags onto your system. Whether that's true or not is completely unsubstantiated, so I take it for a grain of salt. But this is a very, 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 delicate topic. I just can't see them saying you can only play new games and there's no other way around it.
Listen, I do not think they're gonna do that. I don't think Sony or Microsoft are that stupid. Any of the rumors that have surfaced have given rise to that fear that there will be no option to play used games. But in my opinion, they're gonna follow similar to other software that gives you the ability to, for example, install your game on a certain number of consoles or tie it to a certain number of IDs, gamer tags, whatever you want to call it. When Sony's RF tag rumor came out, the same day GameStop stocks fell.
And when the rumor came out that the next Xbox or Durango is going to absolutely limit used game sales, they came out swinging saying 60% of their users are not going to buy the next generation set of consoles. A brick and mortar store like GameStop, they make most of their money from used game sales, so GameStop obviously is worried right here, and even some developers think it's kind of crossing the line.
It depends on how they do it, in my opinion. If they go full out, they're going to lose consumers.
Yep.
If they don't do it at all, the developers are going to keep closing down. So we have to meet somewhere in the middle, people.
Yeah. Do you guys actually think that the next generation console makers will tell you that you cannot play used games on their home consoles? Is that a negative? Is that going to send you somewhere else?
Or will it be like this generation with our beloved studios closing down, seasons passes, 1,000 DLCs, or somewhere in between? Let us know in the comment below. And with that being said, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. We'll see you next time on The Gamer Nerds Sudden Death.